directly obfuscating ties that he has, which ought to be disclosed. Oh my god! The cope is unreal! Wrong! He's wrong! He's wrong about this! He's just wrong! That isn't true! Oh my god! MoistCritical is so full of shit. It's unbelievable. Is this going to make me agree with Scott Schaefer on something? Am I crazy? Like, this is so obvious. It's so obvious. He's so dishonest about this. It's unreal. Honestly, it makes me feel like they're doing it to take the piss. Okay, sorry guys, I'm getting massively distracted. So, Mukitty. Who is Mukitty? Mukitty is a YouTuber who I found out about recently. I thought that they were just like a meme thing. I thought they were just doing memey coverage of Twitch stuff. But actually, behind the memes, there is actually like a substantive critique of the Twitch aristocracy stuff. The stuff that I've obviously spent a lot of time talking about and criticizing. But Mukitty has also spent time criticizing it, but in a very memey way. And I think that one thing I think they're so based about it, right? And I'm gonna glaze a bit here, okay? One thing I think they're so based about it, okay, is that I think streamers don't realize, like I didn't realize, but imagine if you're a streamer that's getting called out by her content, and then you watch it, and then you're like, oh, this is funny, look at all the memes, and then before you know it, you're getting criticized, and you're like, what? And this kind of happened, I think, with XQC a little bit, and XQC, to his credit, has like come out and he comes into this later and comes down on the other side of the narrative. But I think that a lot of streamers watch it not realizing it's going to be a serious criticism, and before they know it, they're getting criticized. And by that point, it's too late. What can you do? Your audience is in front of you. Someone's telling them that you're bad or whatever. So it's a great content. It's a great thing. I think it's really good content. Yes, I'm glazing, but I think this is a worthy glaze. Okay. So Mukitty recently had some problems with her YouTube channel,
to Chud Nation,
which
Mukitty is based.
You know, very suspicious as to exactly what happened there, but nonetheless, she's back now, and she got into it a bit with MoistCritical. She basically made, it's a god tier bait and switch. She basically made it so MoistCritical had to like come face to face with some of these criticisms. But I've not watched it yet. I'm not sure how MoistCritical responds. My guess is he's probably, well, that's a lie. I've skipped through it, and I think what he says is something like, I see them differently. MoistCritical has got a business relationship with Ludwig. They both own Moist Esports together. So I think the reality of it is he is got a conflict of interest in terms of criticizing some of this stuff. Because obviously Ludwig is QT's partner. Moist is friends with a lot of these people as well. I'm pretty sure that he is finding it difficult to offer substantive criticisms, basically. Now, she also uploaded a video to her clip channel, which is MoistCritical reacts to Mukitty exposing the hypocrisy of Twitch streamers. Now, I scanned through it. Like I said earlier, I sort of know a bit about it, roughly. And I don't actually see him reacting to the video. So I'm interested to see what this is. So let's get into it.
Why do I keep getting this question? Why are you okay with QT taking adult content money on Twitch, but not anyone outside your group? I didn't realize that was my group. You realize I've never talked to QT, like, in my life outside of DMs? What are you talking about?
Now, saying that goes beyond just avoiding it to directly obfuscating ties that he has, which ought to be disclosed. I've said this before. I think if he's going to make content about the Twitch aristocracy stuff, okay, I think he needs to be much clearer about the business relationships that he's got. Because if you've got a business relationship with the partner of QTCinderella, that's pretty relevant if you're talking about something in regards to QTCinderella.
Maybe are you talking about the Mukitty video?
Maybe he's going to mention it.
Because I thought that was all just like purposely trolling because of like the Zoomer edits and like the copyrighted music and shit. I didn't know that was like legitimate arguments people were making. Because that's all real bad faith shit. So for example, I was called out because
oh my god! The cope is unreal! It's bad faith shit. What's bad faith about it? It's not bad faith at all. There's a completely reasonable criticism that is being made of you, which is that you're sat there watching the Streamer Awards, right? Which is run by the girlfriend of your business partner, okay? And you are not saying anything, and you are not commenting on it at all. despite the fact that there's a very public discourse and discussion that's happened around sexual content and gambling and stuff on Twitch, and QT is willingly taking sponsorship money. And QT has said herself, the reason she took the Fansly sponsorship is she couldn't have run the show without it. So at this point, he is not just like, I mean, I could understand not wanting to criticize your friends. I've been critical of it before. You know, it's a bit cringe not to criticize. This is like obfuscation now. He is obfuscating ties that he has and accusing others of bad faith when they're making totally reasonable criticisms of him. That's the bad faith there. He's being bad faith.
Pointed out Aiden Ross streamed porn to his audience on Kick. He went to Pornhub and just showed porn. I was like, that's weird. And then it was hypocrisy because I laughed when Fansly was shown at the Streamer Awards. How is that comparable? The clips shown in Fansly are more clothed than what you see on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category.
That's not true. That's not true. That just isn't true. Oh, Zesty Fungi, you absolute legend. Here's another thing as well that's worth mentioning. I haven't spoken to QT outside of DMs, right? He is MoistCritical getting special privileges to stream the show. Isn't that worth mentioning, maybe? Isn't it worth mentioning that, oh, I've only spoken to QT in DMs, but you're getting special privileges to stream the show despite not meeting the criteria for streaming the show? Is that not something that's perhaps worth mentioning? This is why I know there's something fucking wrong with this and there's something going on. Because he's desperately trying to downplay his connection so that he can make it seem like he's being more open-minded. It's really simple. It's so easy and it's so simple. Okay? It's really simple. All he needs to do is say, hey, I have got, just to make it explicitly clear, I've got a business relationship with Ludwig, and that, take it as you will, but bear that in mind as you listen to me talk about this stuff. Do you see what I mean? He says it in the vid. Okay, I could be poor Zandy, and I'll take the poor Zandy L if I have to. The thing is, though, is even if he says that in the video, he hasn't said it before, has he? He hasn't said it in the course of his coverage of what's going on. He's not covered the Streamer Awards and ignored shit they're doing, which is worthy of criticism, right? And gone, by the way, guys, just to make it clear, I do have a business relationship with Ludwig, who obviously is QT's partner, so that could impact my views, and I've got a bias there, basically, right? But he doesn't do that, does he? He doesn't make any of that clear. Now, after the fact, maybe he does it. Great. Good. Well done. Okay? But it's too little too late. And the fact that now he still is not willing to engage in a criticism of this and is like obfuscating with this, well, what Aiden Ross did was worse. I'd probably agree. Yeah, I'd agree that what Aiden Ross did was worse. Sure, I'm happy to accept that, like, broadcasting porn to your audience is a pretty fucking stupid thing to do. But there's an absolutely worthy criticism of QTCinderella's actions, because, you know, she and others made such a big deal out of that, but then is taking Fansly money,
Welcome to
which
Chud
integrates the
Posting
Fansly promotion
swag,
into Twitch
posting
much more
posting
closely.
wavy Chud Gigacket, Chud
Hey,
Gigacket,
thanks for the sub.
Chud Gigacket.
Well, yeah, he is. He's just wrong. He's just wrong about this. It really is as simple as that. And even if you're a fan of Moist, you surely have got to see that it's so simple. It's so obvious. It's so straightforward. It's so simple. It's obvious that he's being affected by the biases that he's got, and anyone can see that with fucking two eyes. Anyway, let's continue.
You would have to sign on to the site in order to access the porn. It's not even comparable. On Pornhub, it was immediate dick, balls, pussy, cock, ass, everything. Right in their face. On Fansly, it was advertising porn, sure, but you'd still have to go out of your way to access it.
Okay, so he's not looked into this at all, has he? As we saw in that clip, you could go from a Twitch to Fansly without any age verification within a couple of clicks. Okay? So, whilst, again, I would happily say that the showing the porn thing is worse, okay, there is still nowhere near enough division between Twitch to Fansly in this situation.
It's legitimately no different than old commercials. Like when GoDaddy would use like, "Oh, here comes a strap coming off. Go to GoDaddy.com to see it finishing." I can't believe we're reverting so hard. It's not even comparable. Aiden Ross bringing up legitimate porn out of nowhere that was immediately seen and accessible to everyone watching is not the same as go to this QR code to access porn.
He's not looked into it. He's not looked into it at all. No scrutiny. No scrutiny for his friends. He's not even bothered to look into this at all or investigate or see what's going on. He's just come on and he is fucking hard defending his friend's actions. Okay, based.
They're both bad for kids. Yeah, but one of them's immediately porn in their face. The other one is they have to go sign up and then say they're 18 years or older to access the porn.
Wrong! Wrong! He's wrong! He's wrong about this! He's just wrong! That isn't true! You don't need to say you're 18. You could get from Twitch to Fansly with a couple of clicks with no age verification. He's wrong! He's wrong! He's wrong! He's wrong! He's wrong! Just literal fucking monkey brain, defend friends, don't even investigate or be curious about what the truth of this is.
One of them, you put porn on a stream that has kids watching. The porn is immediately there. The dick, the balls, the pussy, the tits, the ass.
No, I'm sorry. Look, look. It's great if he takes it back in the XQC combo, which I've got lined up to watch, by the way. That's great. But the point is, it's about the action and the mentality here, right? He's not curious. He's not looking into it. He's not thinking, let me just double check some of this stuff and see.
Chud Nation.
He's not looked into any of it. All he's doing is defending his friends. That's it. That's the angle here. I've got to defend my friends. That's it. That's it. That's literally it. Otherwise, he'd have looked into this. You think he'd be this level of incurious and non-researching on other topics? You think he'd just fucking, you know, I mean, well, I don't know, maybe not. I'm not sure, to be honest. Some of his videos are a little bit lackluster. But I just feel like there's no effort to look into the truth of this. All he's doing is just going on and defending his friends, presuming things about what's happened.
It's all out. The other one is, here's an advertisement. Click this, then confirm you're 18 for the porn. It's not the same. In that case, why aren't we shaking our fists and getting outraged when we're driving down the road and seeing advertisement for strip clubs?
What a fucking retarded thing to say, man. I'm going to pause down the fuck out of this. I don't care. What a retarded thing to say. You mean a strip club where you have to be literally 18 or 21 or whatever the age is to get inside and they stop you on the door? I cannot believe he's comparing this to a fucking strip club. Even if there wasn't the same closeness between Twitch and Fansly, it still isn't the same as a Twitch club where there's like a physical barrier to you getting in and someone that stops you and checks your ID and verifies things before you can even go inside. Fuck me, man.
Kids are in the car and they see those billboards. I see advertisements for strip clubs all the time going down I-4 when I'm going up north to Pennsylvania. There's kids in the cars and they see that. And some of those strip clubs have women in bikinis.
God, this is fucking grotesque, man. This is like new levels of...
But kids can't go inside the clubs. Right, but it's still advertising it to the kids. The kids probably also couldn't pay for the porn either. Or at least they shouldn't be able to, but, I mean, in this day and age, parents aren't monitoring their kids, so maybe they do. But it's still, the point stands. It was an advertisement that led to porn. It wasn't immediately putting porn in their face. It was you would go there to get the porn where you would sign up as 18 years or older. That is the exact same principle of, here's a strip club with women in bikinis, this is where you go to access it, and kids see it. It's the same principle.
By the way, it is funny that Mukitty, who's like a 25,000 sub YouTuber, has got him scrambling so hard over this. That is hilarious. Does he even watch the video? Or does he just rant about it for 10 minutes? Mukitty has brought this guy to his knees with a video. It's based. And the thing about it is he is featured in the video, but I don't think he's like even like the focus or the substantive criticism of the video. It's more of a passing thing of saying, you know, MoistCritical isn't calling this out or criticizing this, which is kind of funny. But here he is fucking sawing out about it. Good, I'm glad these people are under the fucking thumb a little bit for the bullshit. Thank fuck, it's finally happening.
And it's not even close to the same thing as I called weird with Aiden Ross, where he literally just pulled up real porn in front of them. It's not even close. It's a bad faith argument that's not even comparable.
We need a peasant revolt, true.
Why are you talking about this? Because that video, which I thought was a troll because it seemed like it was just supposed to be a joke, but it looks like a lot of people are really running with that narrative of it's completely hypocritical that I had laughed at Fansly being at the Streamer Awards and said it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up actual Pornhub on his stream out of nowhere.
No, okay, this is extremely disingenuous. This guy is so disingenuous, it's unreal. If you watch the video, the criticism isn't that just that you laughed, it's that you are not willing to engage in a critique of something which one would expect you to critique based on other actions, and the belief is that because you've got a business association with Ludwig, okay? It's not just that you laughed about it, okay? Mukitty, in the video, made a point of showing that link and showing that connection to demonstrate why it is that MoistCritical might not be willing to be critical. So it's not just you laughing, it's super disingenuous. And maybe he plays the video, and maybe I'm going to get Paul Zandied here, but it's quite telling. That he, to this point at least, hasn't watched the video and is kind of characterizing the criticism rather than showing people what the criticism is.
It's so silly. It's an outrageous claim to make. No, it's not even one guy. It's like a whole bunch of people that for some reason think that.
The cope is unreal, man. You're getting stun locked, not gonna lie.
Thanks to resub Slim in greed.
Oh no. The copium memes. Look at this. I mean, I can't see the video here. What? I don't think he's reacting to it, is he? I don't think he's reacting to the video. Yes, it is. We're going to watch the XQC Charlie debate. Listen, I got to say, look, I said about XQC the other day, sometimes, you know, is friendly. Fair play to XQC on this because he had some bad takes on this. He admitted he was wrong. He said in his chat, I got it wrong about the Fansly thing. And now he's going to debate MoistCritical about it. I got to say, credit where it's due. Fair play to XQC for, like, being reasonable on this, you know? Because fuck me, this cope is insane.
Thanks to the gift sub Paragon. Well, it's not my kind of content anyway. I don't really like the Zoomer jingling keys of, like, constant sound effects and, like, copyright music blaring that you hear a million times on TikTok. It's not my kind of content, but it's not like I have a problem with it either. I thought it was supposed to be just jokes, but it seems like she's trying to make them real arguments. Or if it's not her, the community is.
Do you know what? I thought that Mukitty was memes too. I still watched it though. That isn't my style of content either. I'm not really into the sort of Zoomer cuts and edits and memes and stuff like that, you know? That's not my content either. But I still watched it. I watched it because, you know, when I started, someone linked it to me. I thought, well, what is this? You realise there's actual arguments being made. And you're like, okay, fair enough. I see what's happening here. you know? And the thing is, MoistCritical is such a fucking retard if he can't see this, right? Clearly, the reason she's doing the memes is because she wants to slip in the criticisms there to the point where a streamer is watching it, thinking it's all memes, and then a criticism about them is thrown to them, and they're like, oh shit. And they've got to deal with it, haven't they? Truth through funny. I mean, obviously that's Sneeko's catchphrase, I guess. But I think that is kind of like the angle that's being gone for, right? Genuinely.
I think he's just baiting and people are biting. That was the impression I got, but this has been like a week now.
Always getting mad with the comments. The pressure's too much.
I thought it was all supposed to be ironic. But I guess that did.
He could just ignore it. He could just ignore it. But now he's stuck. Now he's stuck in a stun lock. We've all been there. We've all been there.
Make it to the audience. Thanks to resub Lolu and Gato and Booty. And the Bitsplane. Thanks to the resub Lancer.
Mukitty got remonetized, yeah.
I think the community's upset she got demonetized, so they're blaming it on the group. It's no mystery why she got demonetized if that's true. Half of that video is literally just copyrighted music.
Oh my god! MoistCritical is so full of shit, it's unbelievable. You don't get demonetized for copyright music. That is fucking such a bullshit take. The worst that happens, being a YouTuber, okay, somewhat at least, I know myself, you get content ID'd. You don't get demonetized because you're... This is such bullshit and cope. You can say, look, I would accept him saying something like, you know, well, obviously I didn't want it to be demonetized or something like that. But but instead he's got to come up with this cope argument. Oh, well, she got demonetized because of all the... No. She probably got demonetized. I mean, probably someone made a decision initially off of it because of a bunch of reports or something. I don't fucking know what happened. But, you know, I just think it's completely delusional to say this, and it's pure cope on his part.
There's no, like, conspiracy there, I doubt. If that's even true. I don't know. That's just one guy, so it could just be a fucking lie.
Yeah. I mean, have you considered looking into this at all? Or do you not care because there's someone that's criticizing your friends or something? Like, what the fuck, man? Well, Spark Soma, I used to think MoistCritical was just like any other commentary YouTuber. Oh, hey, Dingo, how's it going? I thought MoistCritical was just like any other YouTuber. But he's not. He's not like any other commentary guy. He's not. He is someone who's got connections to some of the top streamers and will, you know, at the very least, play ignorant in order to avoid criticizing them. To the point now where he's directly obfuscating truth in order to protect himself from the idea he has to criticize them. Wait, what? He used DraftKings as a sponsor for his podcast after going so hard on crypto gambling. I feel like people do this thing. I don't like gambling, personally, okay? I have got friends and stuff that have got fucked by it. I just think gambling is bad, full stop. But I think that, like, you can't pick and choose. This is why I've kind of moved away from being critical of the gamba stuff. Because I just think that it's such bullshit, the dynamic of which happens online. Because people act like they care, and you're like... Yeah, damn, this person really cares about gambling. Fuck, they want to see it banned. And then Twitch ban crypto gambling from less well-regulated sites, and they celebrate like gambling's banned. Yeah, well, hang on a minute, what about all the other... Wait, hang on, what about all the other gambling? What about sports betting and shit? And they just don't care about that, they don't talk about it. And it's like such fucking bullshit. They don't care about gambling at all. They care about the optics of talking about the gambling. Twitch don't care about gambling. They don't give two fucks about gambling. But they could get an easy PR win. They could get an easy PR win. Also, okay, I don't want to get too conspiratorial. But I vaguely remember the Gamba announcement coming at around the same time as another piece of news that was negative from Twitch, right? I'm certain it was like 48 hours before. Was it the subsplit change? Was that what it was? When they said that they're removing 70-30 from the juiced contracts or something like that. But I just remember Was it OT Killer? Anyway, I just remember that there was an announcement, and then it was like, oh, hang on, this is just after the Gamba stuff. It seemed like literal PR games being played. I don't know, man. Oh god, it's just so frustrating. Anyway.
She got demonetized because she got attacked because she attacked a lot of big names. I've never heard of anyone on YouTube being demonetized because they made fun of Twitch streamers. I think the most likely case is all of the copyrighted music.
God, how is like a multi-million sub YouTuber saying this? This is like absurd. How is he just making shit up like this? You do not get fucking removed from the partner program because you put copyright music in your video. Oh my god, man. This is fucking delusional.
Her comparison was asked, but the point of a Fansly ad being bad for a minor-based audience still holds. Well, then extend it to all of Twitch, because minors can easily just go to the hot tubs category right now, and you get a lot more pornography out of that than that one Fansly ad. But yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, advertising Fansly, OnlyFans, or anything in front of an audience that has younger children on it, it's always going to be not a great decision. It's one of those things, yeah.
I mean, well, if you want to go down that route with it, if you want to go down that route, Charlie, we can go down that route too. QTCinderella was one of the people that was critical of hot tub streams back in the day because she didn't like the fact that more pornographic content was getting put onto Twitch, and she felt that the ever closer union of sexual content and Twitch put pressure on her to be sexual. And so why is she doing that with Fansly then? We can go down that route too if you want. We can go down that route too if you want, because there's another hypocrisy. There's another hypocrisy there too. Easy peasy. Easy peasy.
So she needs to pick up arms and go against the hot tub category next and reinvigorate that fucking ancient debate. But she was advertising it to people. Twitch advertises the hot tub category. Log in, or don't log into Twitch, go to the front page and you get recommended Taylor Javot.
Not even QTCinderella is not jumping through these hoops to defend herself over this, right? I didn't realize she'd covered it in a stream and responded in a stream. But in a stream, she said she took the money because she needed it to run the show. And in a deleted tweet responding to someone, she also said that she took the money because she needed the money to run the show. She isn't even jumping through all of these hoops to say that it's different. She has accepted that she took the money and did it because purely she needed the money to run the show. So he is even going beyond the level at which QTCinderella is defending herself over this.
Every single day. Every single day. So Twitch itself is always pushing the hot tub category.
God, this is the biggest cope I've ever seen.
So one bad makes the other good? No. But they can both be bad, but only one is what people are harping on now, because it's the topical one. Keep the energy for both then. Otherwise that makes you hypocritical as well.
This guy is unreal. He has not himself given like a substantive criticism. And now he's pointing to this like, well, you're being hypocritical too. Listen, I don't give a shit if some fucking shitter in your chat is not offering equal criticism. Who fucking cares? The point is, you have got connections with these people. You are not issuing any sort of criticism about it. And that suggests that the reason you're not doing it is because you've got these business connections. Oh my God, man. This is unreal.
The parents are never brought up in the discussion, kind of wild. Not true, actually, just brought that up when referring to the Fansly thing. But parenting's kind of a lost art now. It's just sit your kids down in front of the computer and let the internet raise them.
He knows he's fucking... He must know in his own head. He must know in his own head. He must know in his own head that he is fucking, playing silly buggers with this one. He is. Well, he's mad because he's getting called out for something he ought to get called out for. Let's watch his new video. So he did a video called Hypocrisy. Just to be clear, I didn't watch this, but I scanned through it and saw a couple of 10-second moments. So it's not fully pre-watched, but I've got a rough idea of some things. So this is just bear it in mind, okay? I don't normally pre-watch anything, but I just want to let you know I've watched a little bit of it in clips here and there.
Yeah, I've set the t-shirt to dark mode, which means it's time to go full throttle into the danger zone. No more granny shifting. We're going to talk about a controversial topic. Fansly advertisements on Twitch. This is actually a war that I've been drafted into and tossed into the front lines, so I've been catching fire and getting called out, labeled a hypocrite, and morally flexible when it comes to things my friends do that I call others out for. So I kind of want to talk about this entire subject here because I feel that it's just a load of dirty barnacles to call me hypocritical when it comes to Fansly advertisements. So allow me to show you to your table and deliver your entree of drama that you've ordered. So, the situation...
Yeah, listen, this is a great point. Did you watch YouTube back in 2016 with the commentary boom? Say what you want about them, at least they could handle being held accountable. These motherfuckers turned to mush when a 10k YouTube Andy plays a clip of them laughing. True! True!
Situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch. I was unable to attend them in person, so I received permission from QTCinderella to watch party them. This was a massive event that QTCinderella put together. And one of the advertisers for it, one of the sponsors, was Fansly. So
notice as well how that has imperceptibly been slipped in there. So before, when he was live reacting to it, right, he said, I've only spoken to QT in DMs. But now he slipped it. Someone said to me, oh, he mentions that in the video. Yeah, but he's kind of slipping it in there, isn't he? He's slipping it in there as like, well, I've said that. But the thing is, like, not only is it that aspect that I think you need to make clear, because obviously if you're given special permission to stream the Streamer Awards, despite not meeting the criteria that has been set out to do so, that could very easily affect the way in which you talk about it, right? And then on top of that as well, I'm sure he's going to mention he's got to mention the fucking business relationship with Ludwig at some point. So I'm sure he's going to mention that too. But this is all stuff that ought to be disclosed ahead of time.
So during the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
A free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators through the Fansly For You feature.
Look at the laughing, man. It's like there's an awkwardness to it.
Swipe.
He must know here, in his head, surely. He must know in his head. He must be like, oh God, I can't believe they got an advert for Fansly. What the fuck, man?
And discover today.
A very tame giggle as if someone came up and playfully tickled me for a moment. And people were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up arms about how disgusting it was that Fansly was being advertised on...
Oh my God. Can he be honest for 1 second about what the criticism is? We're not saying you need to go, oh my God, I cannot believe this is ridiculous. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. All you have to do is say, oh, it seems a bit off that QT's taken a Fansly sponsorship with some of her takes on sexualization and pornography. Like, that's it. That's all you need to do. Just reference it at least. Say it. Just say something. It's not the pushback meme. It's just... if you have got a vested, you could do one of two things, okay? If you've got a vested interest or you've got a connection and a conflict of interest, you either make it clear, okay, and say, I've got a conflict of interest ahead of time so people can view that when they're looking at your analysis of something, or alternatively, you just go hard and you fucking do criticize and you do say, listen, I'm friends with, I've got these connections, I said, I think this is wrong. I don't think they should be promoting Fansly. Nobody ever does that. Well, they should. They should. It's fucked.
On this broadcast
and
here.
Also, yeah, look, whilst it's not... Aiden Ross look, does anyone think that Aiden Ross showing porn is good or like less bad than this? I'm pretty sure we're all going to agree that Aiden Ross bringing up hardcore pornography or whatever pornography on Pornhub on his stream is worse, is bad, is really bad. Okay? I'm pretty sure we're all going to agree that the Aiden Ross thing is like worse. Of course we are. So, yeah, we can do that and we can say that's bad whilst also pointing out, hey, taking a Fansly promotion which links to porn, which you can connect via your Twitch account without age verification, is also bad. And it's a bad look for QTCinderella to take a sponsorship for this, when she has not only been critical of the porn stuff, but herself has been critical of the ever-increasing sexualization of Twitch. So, you know, you can still recognize what Aiden Ross did as bad whilst criticizing this. He's acting like, oh, well, you know, it's like one or the other or something. It's just not at all.
Reason being is because prior I had made a video talking about a couple of things. One of them was Aiden Ross when he showed porn to his audience. My statement was that Aiden Ross went on Pornhub in front of his audience, which a lot of them are kids, on the younger side of things. So I said that was weird. That was a weird thing to do. So when I giggled during the Fansly segment, it was used as a smoking gun to call out and attack me for being a hypocrite. Because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly had kids watching. How is that any different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub? Charlie is a fucking hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't do it when it's his friend QTCinderella. When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people would try to compare these two things. Going on an actual legitimate Pornhub out of nowhere in front of your audience and just having porn, real porn being played versus an advertisement, which does lead to porn, but the advertisement itself has more clothes on than a lot of things that are already freely broadcast on Twitch that are easily accessible. I didn't think these two things deserved to be on the same playing field, but that's where I was wrong. I clearly failed the CAPTCHA here and was labeled a bot because a lot of people do view these in the same category, in the same wheelhouse. A YouTuber named Mukitty made a whole video on it talking about Twitch streamers and their hypocrisy, a video that I make an appearance in towards the end, and it's exactly what I just talked about, where I said it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up Pornhub, but I laughed when Fansly was a sponsor of the Streamer Awards. And not long after her video, Scott Schaefer made content covering the same topic.
Oh no. I do not like Scott Schaefer. Is this going to make me agree with Scott Schaefer on something?
Where, once again, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 superstar Charles White comes into the frame once again with another banger cameo. And the argument is...
No, it's not. No. It's not common language in the UK at all. It is definitely something that would be considered offensive over here.
The same. Charlie called it out when Aiden Ross pulled up real porn, but didn't call it out when QTCinderella advertised porn. And he did it because she's his friend, thus he is a hypocrite. And on stream, I talked about this last night, and I'll go ahead and get this out of the way right away. During that stream, and in the exact same video Mukitty has posted on one of her channels, I outright say both are bad. It's pretty clear from reading her comments.
Oh my god, the cope is unreal.
It's not like real porn, but didn't call it out when QTCinderella advertised porn. And he did it because she's his friend, thus he is a hypocrite. And on stream, I talked about this last night, and I'll go ahead and get this out of the way right away. During that stream, and in the exact same video Mukitty has posted on one of her channels, I outright say both are bad. It's pretty clear from...
But you didn't say it was bad at the time. The only reason you're saying it's bad now is because you've been called out, and you said it's bad in amongst fucking 10 minutes of footage of you trying to defend yourself super hard over it. God, this is unbelievable. I can't believe the fucking nerve of this guy. I swear to God. God, he's so disingenuous. What's this? Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this. I've seen this. Some fucker in here reports chatters. Oh yeah, I've undoubtedly got hate watchers that are watching me to try and report me for shit. No two ways about it. So if you're in chat, you do need to be careful of what you say because someone might try and report you for saying some shit. Suffering from success. Not when you're selling it to a non-18 plus viewer base on a huge live stream. Sons of creators, try again. The show wouldn't have existed without their sponsor, plain and simple. This is what I'm saying. QT is not even trying to do this like, oh no, it's different actually, and the explanation, you know, the explaining meme. She is saying, I took the money because I needed to run the show. She's admitting it. She's copping to it straight away. So why are you going so hard to defend it? Anyway, good meme.
I'm reading her comments, not like her personal comments, but like the audience comments, that the majority of the people didn't even watch the full statement. which isn't her fault, and I even don't blame the audience, because right now
Here we go.
the human
We got the
race
full
is being
statement.
plagued by brain rot, parasite, short-form content, which has ruined the attention span of people. So I don't necessarily...
Bro, is this guy for real? 12 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Debate, 1 hour 15. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 6 minutes 30, 16 minutes, 9 minutes, 12 minutes 30,
Welcome
10
to
minutes,
Chud Nation.
13 minutes.
Mukitty
This guy's
thanks.
unreal. You're contributing to the problem, mate. You're part of the issue. Oh my god. How are you going to complain about fucking short form content brain rot when you're the one also perpetuating it? Literally throwing a fucking stone in a glass house. That would be like me complaining about drama content. That would be like me saying, oh man, all this drama content is brain rotting people. I can't believe people are just watching drama stuff all the time.
Find it shocking that they didn't watch all 10 minutes of what I was saying. But in that clip, I outright say both can be bad, but they are not the same to me. Thus, I disagree that it's hypocritical that I made statements about Aiden Ross and the porn thing being really weird, and I didn't make the exact same statements for QTCinderella's Fansly sponsor. I'll go ahead and prove that it's there right now, real quick, before getting into why I think they're so different, but ultimately both are not a great thing to be advertising to an audience that is undoubtedly going to have children watch.
Okay. So Charlie does accept that it's wrong. So the fact that you didn't say that it's wrong in the course of the original video and you laughed.
Of course, advertising Fansly, OnlyFans or anything in front of an audience that has younger children on it.
This is after the fact. God, this is such cope. This is after the fact. This is after you've been criticised for not criticising it. Now you're criticising it. Yeah, after it all is said and done. After your live stream reaction. Okay? Finally, you're saying it's bad after great pressure, and you can't even do that without 10 minutes of trying to justify your actions and act like you aren't compromised. Fuck me, man.
It's always going to be not a great decision. It's one of those things, yeah. Now let's make like an egg and hard boil this subject real quick. So, the difference...
Is this real? He's using the fact that he's criticised it after the fact to defend against the accusation that he's not criticised it. No, you guys are so stupid. He's correcting himself. None of this addresses the fact that Charlie is compromised when it comes to talking about and criticising the Twitch aristocracy because he's, in business-wise, in bed with them. Because he's got a connection via Ludwig, via the Moist Esports thing. Like, how does... Am I crazy? Like, this is so obvious. It's so obvious. It's so obvious what is going on to anyone that isn't fucking retarded, okay? Really simple. Let me lay it out for you, okay? MoistCritical co-owns Moist Esports with Ludwig. He has a business relationship and a conflict of interest, and it means that when it comes to watching the Streamer Awards, which is run by QTCinderella, who is the partner of Ludwig, he got special permission to stream it, even though he couldn't attend. And QT said, if you've been asked to attend and you can't come, you can't stream it. He was given special, ability to stream it anyway, right? And he seems completely unwilling to criticize any aspect of it whatsoever in the course of the original coverage. Someone go back to the original coverage. Okay, listen. I'm getting the fucking defenders in now. You're all freaks and you disgust me, okay? The world would be better off if you weren't in it, to be perfectly honest with you, okay? You are honestly that level of fucking disgusting to me. So here's the thing. I do not care for your opinions. I do not care for your fucking opinions, okay? So, very clearly and very obviously, his ability or his willingness to criticize stuff which is worthy of criticism, okay, is impeded by these relationships that he's got, which, by the way, I don't mind. I don't care. If someone has got a relationship or a friendship and doesn't want to criticize them or go hard on them, that's okay. But if you don't want to do that, you at the very least need to make that clear before you get into the criticism. Bro, this is so funny. Why is Chud so mad? Okay, listen, Fattest thought it's been fun, but you're getting banned forever. You're never coming back. Get the fuck out of here. Honestly, when people say stuff like that to me, I feel like this is something that is justifiable to actually get angry about, right? This is like corrupt, big content creators that have got these ties they don't seem willing to openly admit in the course of covering something. And it leads to them not criticizing the industry worthy of criticism. It's like, why are you so mad about that? Because it's fucked. Because it's wrong. Because it's wrong. That's it. This is something that I think is perfectly legitimate to get mad about.
Between Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub and QTCinderella bringing up a Fansly...
This is like the same kind of corruption you see in the real world of like fucking businesses and people interacting with each other and having conflicts of interests and not revealing those conflicts of interests and it affecting how they interact and talk about things. You know? But people are acting like it's no big deal. It is a big deal. It's a problem. It's bad. It's terrible. And I don't like it. And I'm glad it's getting called out. Mukitty is a 25,000 subscriber YouTuber that has made one iota of criticism. And look at the way that this fucker, mobilizes to fucking go against that. He rants about it on stream. Now he's released a video that's got 1.7 million views where he's fucking popping off about this, trying to defend himself. Yes, Haze Hots, exactly. It's like they don't even think, it's like they don't even see the conflict of interest. It's like I don't know if they're stupid or if they're retarded or just liars, but they act like they, there's nothing there to, but of course it's obvious. What other industry would it be acceptable where you've got a business relationship with the partner of someone and the way you interact with that isn't scrutinized? Like any other industry, people would scrutinize the fuck out of this kind of dynamic. Right? Like, what the fuck? But people are acting like it's no big deal, nothing's happening.
Sponsor is very clear right off rip. If all of you in the classroom right now have your thinking caps on, you'll notice a huge difference. I was able to play the entire Fansly ad as it aired because they are all clothed. You are not getting immediate nudity or pornographic content. It is an advertisement for pornographic content going to the website, yes, but unlike Aiden Ross's moment with real Pornhub just being their actual fucking full-blown porn, you got pussy, tits, everything all right there immediately, that is not what you got with the QTCinderella Fansly sponsorship. Thus, immediately, those two are already different. Showing the porn to an unsuspecting audience out of fucking nowhere is a lot worse than advertising a service that has porn on it. And that's something Scott Schaefer does touch on in his video. His is more of a deeper look at the subject, and Mukitty's is more memeing with it. I always thought her content was supposed to be silly and over-the-top trolling, but she does seem genuinely upset at me, and I imagine it's because of my statements, and I also did say I'm not the biggest fan of the way she edits her content. I called it Zoomer editing, which sounds mean-spirited when I really didn't mean it to be. She edits her videos like very chaotic, on purpose, where it's a lot of sound effects, like a fucking gong being hit pretty often, or like really loud blasting music pretty often, and that's just never been my cup of tea. But I never meant it as an insult on her honor. It's just not something that I'm personally a huge fan of, the same way that she doesn't like my content. I didn't mean it to be mean, and I apologize.
Wait, hang on a minute. This is very different, though. This is so funny. I like Mukitty's message. I personally, for me, the Zoomer content isn't my style and cup of tea. But he's acting like Mukitty just doesn't like MoistCritical style of content. No, MoistCritical, my fellow content creator of much larger renown and money, okay? She's offering a criticism of you. It's not that she doesn't like your content. She's offering a criticism of your actions. And you're responding to that by going, well, I don't like her content, she doesn't like my content. It's just endless fucking obfuscation from this guy. It's fucking wild. God, it is like... It's so fucking corrupt, it's unreal. It's like this whole thing is so corrupt and rotten to the core. And Mukitty absolutely hit the nail on the head in calling it out. And look at how they scrabble. Look at how they scrabble.
Apologize that it may have come across that way. I certainly didn't mean it to. But the whole point of me mentioning this right now is I do want to say that Scott Schaefer did also talk about the difference between playing porn versus advertising the Fansly. He did touch on that. Last night I made the comparison that the Fansly ad actually had more clothing on the people in it than what you would already find on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category, where it is bikinis and very, very revealing clothing. And that is a category that Twitch itself advertises. If you go to Twitch when you're not logged in, a lot of the recommended channels are hot tub streams, so Twitch itself does peddle content that is clearly sexually charged. My point with this statement...
Okay, and again... we can come at it from this angle too. Well, in that case, maybe you want to address the fact that QTCinderella criticized this type of content before, but pushed for further integration of sexualization by running a Fansly ad that was integrated with Twitch, where you could go from your Twitch account to Fansly without any age verification. Anyway, it's pointless. I'm arguing with the video. That's what I do here, I guess. He's not going to. He's not going to. Because, you know, it's a negative benefit to actually find out about this stuff. So why would he?
Was to draw the immediate comparison that this Fansly advertisement wasn't immediately exposing young viewers to sexually explicit material, and it's even more easily accessible for them on Twitch already by just going to the category right next to the fucking Just Chatting one. That was the whole point of that. That's something XQC didn't quite understand, calling me wrong, saying that there's not a bleached butthole right away or something on hot tubs category, thus checkmate. It's me with the scholars mate. That wasn't my point. My point was the ad itself didn't contain any explicit imagery or anything highly sexual, at least nothing that was worse than what is already currently being advertised on Twitch in that category. And when you go to Fansly, there is still not immediately ass and titties in your face right away. Thus,
God, he's not looked into this at all. The gigacope is unreal. You're telling me on their fucking main page they don't have ass and titties out? We watched a video about it on stream. You could literally log in with your Twitch. Within 2 or 3 clicks, you could be looking at pornographic content. It was that simple.
I didn't think by scanning the QR code, people would immediately just be fucking blasted with porn all over the place, like Charles Xavier jacking into Cerebro. So I viewed the advertisement very differently than a lot of people, because even when you scan the QR code, you still don't immediately get porn. There's already a lot of degrees of separation and a lot of obstacles to
So the difference here as well between so XQC had this take too. XQC argued with his chat about this, right? But the difference is, XQC is friends with some of these people, but he has at least got a bit of intellectual honesty to look and think about things. Because he said he went off and looked at the fancy stuff and realized he was wrong and said in his chat, I was wrong, and then went on to debate. Oh, what did XQC say?
Very important, in my opinion, that QT had the 18 plus tag on the stream that they were streaming it, right? And if they didn't, that's a fucking problem. That is did they have or not the 18 tag when going to QT's stream on that day? Then that is a massive fucking problem. Because you want to talk about barriers, right? I will not be a hypocrite. I was gonna call myself out, okay? Because if I'm the one who advocates and says, yo guys, there's a barrier against this on this side or whatever, right? If there is a possible barrier that they can add on the platform, and they didn't add it for things that do have a barrier, that is such a problem. That is a problem. Yep. I take accountability. I'm sorry about that. When we did Fansly, when Juice was sponsored, and I knew that after episode 1, very important.
Sites is okay for Twitch and QT and Moist. Why not advertise Pornhub? They can show clothed women in the advert, but
True. Thank you for the bits. Yeah, XQC. Listen, you got a credit where credit's due. XQC definitely is, come around on this with new information.
go through, as opposed to Aiden Ross, which just pulled up porn as a jump scare during fucking stream, right? It to me, still is very different. I also was under the assumption that Fansly was only accessible to 18 plus after you verified your age. I don't use the platform. I thought you had to verify you were 18 plus in order to even get to the pornographic content. Thus, I thought it was even harder for children to have got porn out of that advertisement if they weren't of age. Not only would they have had to leave the platform to get it, they would then have to verify their age and make an account for it. I thought there was a lot of steps to it, making it very difficult for them. But according to some research now, it actually seems like Fansly is extremely easily accessible for anyone of any age. There's not a whole lot of security to it based on the things I've read, which is knowledge I didn't have last night. So, I made the comparison that the Fansly ad...
Okay, so this is good. It's good to see him relent on this. But here's the problem. In his segment yesterday, there was none of this curiosity or none of this, or whenever it was. It wasn't yesterday, so whenever it was. There was none of this kind of like, oh, I better go and look into this. It was monkey brain, defend my friends, before even looking into it in any meaningful way. So, great. Good for MoistCritical for like changing his position on something with new information, one iota of it. But again, the problem I've got with all of this is like one point of relenting in a video where he does everything he possibly can to obfuscate and defend himself from valid criticism. So I just think this is too little for me. It's like, great, you've admitted one point on which you were wrong, mildly, in a whole video where you're trying to defend yourself.
Advertisement remind me of all of the strip club billboards that are spaced around all of the major interstates. Anytime I go up north to Pennsylvania, there is hundreds of strip clubs being advertised, and on those advertisements, there are women in bikinis and very, very revealing lingerie. And they tell you exactly where to go for the strip club. Well, when you're driving through, there's a good chance a lot of those cars are going to have kids in it and see those advertisements. So I compared Fansly to a strip club billboard because, in principle, if Fansly worked the way I thought it did, where you had to be 18 years or older to enter, it's kind of like a strip club advertisement because a kid could see that, but still couldn't access the content because the strip club would obviously turn them away. Ideally, assuming you're not going to some kind of fucking shady, corrupt strip club. And I thought Fansly was the same way. But apparently that's not the case, so that...
The other thing as well, someone's just in the chat. The other thing that's stupid about this comparison is not even the age thing and the ID thing. It's the difference in access. It's like, you know where a strip club is, but then not only do you need to show ID to get in, you need to physically travel there to enter it. Not so with the internet. You can literally, even beyond the age verification, you can literally click a couple of buttons and you're on the website. Like a totally different investment of time and energy is required to get to a website than it is to go to a physical strip club. It's just unreal. And yeah, like I say, great. He's admitting he was wrong on one like minor point of a comparison he made that was stupid, which was stupid in the first place. But it's like so little in the whole video when he's trying to obfuscate and defend himself. When's he going to mention the Ludwig thing as well? That's what I want to know.
Comparison doesn't work anymore, and I recognize that now. And I also made the comparison to the old GoDaddy commercials, which were highly sexualized content that was broadcast during like Super Bowl, during sporting events, where it was things like a girl with huge honkers, her straps like breaking off, and like she's in a courtroom and like judges going hubba hubba hubba, and then like she's trying to say something and the other strap's like wiggling, and then it's like right when it breaks off and about to reveal the giant milkers, it says go to GoDaddy.com to finish it. And I wasn't really making a big point out of that. I just wanted to point out that, man, it really does feel like the early 2000s again with a lot of the internet arguments we get into these days. It's shit we've had for years. History really does kind of repeat itself. Because I do still think that's a pretty fair comparison. That's fundamentally like the same thing. The argument back then was, think of the children. They were watching this sport, and then all of a sudden, sexual content advertisement. So that's all I was really saying with that one. But yeah, in closing, I feel like there is no real good faith argument to be made that I'm hypocritical because I called Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub weird and didn't immediately start calling out how weird it was for Fansly to...
Is it impossible for him to contend with the idea that because... I mean, he's not even mentioned it in this whole video yet. Maybe he's going to mention it in the last minute. Is it like literally impossible for him to contend with the idea that because he's got a professional business relationship with Ludwig, it may at the very least make him a bit less willing to call out something bad that QT does? like he can't. It's like he can't even contend with that as a concept or an idea. Do you know what I mean? It's like, bro, like this is the most obvious thing in the world. The other thing that he's missing out too. Listen, the other thing that he's missing out too is he made a video called "Big Drama at the Streamer Awards." And I can't remember what the video was, but I think that in and of itself acted as a downplaying of like some of this stuff too, because he kind of obfuscated the stuff that lots of people were criticizing at the time by making a kind of memey video about it. Listen, me and Richard have spoken about making content together, but he's obviously very busy doing lots of esports, cool reporting and shit, and I'm busy talking about autistic internet drama. So does he talk about this stuff as well? I've seen some of his coverage recently that looks pretty good, of calling out like esports teams for being fuckers. Also, he scooped the Counter-Strike 2. He scooped the Counter-Strike 2 being released. And a bunch of like smug pricks who cover Counter-Strike stuff and esports stuff were like, huh, what an idiot. He thinks Counter-Strike 2's coming out. And we're like dunking on him for it. And then Counter-Strike 2 came out and everyone had to eat some humble pie. And he was in people's replies going, yeah, what do you think about this now, you prick? It was pretty funny.
To be a sponsor of the Streamer Awards. I feel like the two aren't really comparable. Blasting porn, real porn, immediately to your audience out of nowhere, no warning, and right in their face, just on stream.
It was HLTV, the biggest site for CSGO. That's kind of embarrassing. That's kind of embarrassing.
Is completely different than an advertisement to a platform which does have porn, but a lot of things that they'd have to do in order to access it. Granted, I've now learned that it's easier than I thought it was. I still think the two are drastically different. So I still just don't think it's hypocritical. As I've said, neither one of them is great. I don't think either one of them is an amazing thing to do, but they are just not the same, and it's really fucking silly to pretend that they are. They are very different. And yeah. That's about it, really. Just wanted to talk about it. See ya.
Making a criticism of it a month after it's relevant and acting like that was your position the whole time. Based. Yep. He is changed his... It is so unreal the way this guy is trying to fucking manipulate... The way he's trying to manipulate the narrative and the history of what happened here. God, this guy is so dishonest. Still not mentioned the fact that he's got a... And I know people will say, oh, well, people will know that. People will know that. Some people might, but not everyone will. And I think that if you know that he's got this business relationship with Ludwig, it enables you to understand a lot more clearly why some of this stuff might be happening. Because no one wants to criticize the girlfriend of their business partner at the end of the day. That's a very simple, straightforward human dynamic that exists. I think everyone understands it, everyone gets it, but he's still not mentioned it in any of this coverage. That's wild. You should I Mr. G to get him. I mean, this is kind of like why I guess in some ways that article fell flat for me as well, because it's like anything that Destiny does is like a drop in the ocean compared to the shit that goes on here. This is wild to me. This is like genuinely, you know, money changing hands, obfuscations being made, criticisms not being dished out to friends, getting mad about one thing, not getting mad about another. This is like the real deal for me. I think this is actually genuinely worth getting a little bit mad about. But yeah. Oh, did he? Oh, I'll watch that as well. Asmongold is someone who, you know, is willing to call out bullshit when he sees it as well. I don't know. Right, what's this?
In your video.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Here we go.
I think there's so much... People don't understand how much there's unpacking this. There's a lot of components in this. There's a lot of components.
Okay. Yeah, very nuanced. Very nuanced.
A lot of topics, like things like safeguards, things like... and the reason why I'm more involved with this video than last time Out of the Gamba shit, I became like a 5-head. I understand it. Chud doesn't get it. I think the internet isn't ready for the truth sometimes. I get a lot of these concepts. Now here's some of them. So I think the two mistakes, or the thing that I think there was a mistake about. One is about safeguards. And the other one was about nuance in... What was it again? It was nuance in... I'm
Just
printing
get a
in my
notepad up, man. What is this?
All good.
It's printing. Hold up.
I'll wait on the fax machine. No worries.
Yeah. Come on, Jay, help me out. Because I said it and I forgot what I was running about. And I don't want to do the entire video again to make a point, or at least start.
Good notes.
Yeah,
Solid
yeah,
notes.
yeah. Nuance in nudity and content.
Right.
Okay. So here's So I'll go to the main point. I'll remove this. So then, you bring up in the vid at one point that like people are naked. No, you say at one point, you say that you understand that Aiden, right? So Aiden, he showed porn or something like that, right?
Yeah, he went on Pornhub. Well, I mean the clips are all there. I mean,
I know. I said this a little about that. I didn't actually watch. I'm not kidding. But I get the I get the point though. Right?
Yep.
And then, right? And then in
I said for a while Twitch could do an 18+ side. They can't do that. The reason they can't do that is if you've got an 18+ component of your website, that is still going to have a negative, detrimental impact with advertisers. So they can't do that. No, they have to keep it as it is, like like having sexual content not allowed, because otherwise advertisers are going to freak out and not necessarily going to want to associate with them. Right?
The other instance. Oh man, I'm trying to get lost here. Okay, because I think there's 3 parts. Fuck. I'm
all right, here. I'll throw you a little lure here,
sure.
we can start on a topic.
I
think it's
actually
very simple. So the video from Mukitty highlights me in particular at the end as hypocrisy, because I had made a statement saying it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up full-blown porn on stream, and I called it weird, which I still think it was. It is weird, and it is weird because you have to consider that there.
Have we confirmed that he just said it was weird, or did he make a whole video talking about it? He might have just said it was weird. I don't know either way.
There definitely were kids watching. Now, I know the point that you, as well as a lot of the pseudo-intellectuals in the comments made, is that, well, at least there was an 18+ warning on there.
Yeah.
And fair enough. Not that that's a great safeguard, which I think is what you wanted to touch on, but that is there. Yeah, that was there where you click, yes, I'm 18. Well, actually, on Kick, I don't know if you have to even click anything. I think you can still just go. But regardless, it was in, like, the title, I think. So that's a point that a lot of people like to make. And then fast forward to the Fansly advertisement. There was no porn shown. Would you argue that anything was sexually explicit in the advertisement itself? Was there any nudity or anything that you wouldn't find on Instagram or on Twitch itself right now?
Okay. I'm not going I'm not going down that route because I think it's dumb, right? Me personally, with my core beliefs, I think yes, but for the sake of the argument and the sake of terms of service.
But the thing is, this is this is a dumb argument, because I think someone pointed this out in chat earlier as well. But by this logic, as long as you have a Pornhub ad, as long as it doesn't feature nudity and it just features scantily clad women, or a Chatterbait ad or something like that, would that be okay? Would you be okay with a Pornhub ad running? I mean, to be honest with you, I think if there's a full-blown fucking Pornhub ad, MoistCritical probably would have still had the same response anyway. But it doesn't matter because the content that's on Fansly is pornographic. Like, yeah.
No. So that my answer to that is no. The actual pictures shown and things, right, were not a problem.
Right. So, well, we can stop right there. So, we can recognize...
This is a good point from Amaranth Angel as well. It wasn't just this ad either. QTCinderella is coping a bit when she says I needed the money to run the event. QTCinderella has been working with Fansly for months. There's adverts going back to like late 2022 or like mid 2022 where she's promoting Fansly. Like she has had a long ongoing business relationship and promotion thing with Fansly. Years even, maybe longer than that. But the point is like she is clearly, linked to Fansly, has got a promotional business relationship there, which I think is very hypocritical when you consider her takes and her criticisms of the continuous sexualization of Twitch that she had when the hot tub meta was happening.
Guys, there's already a distinct difference between Aiden Ross showing full-blown porn, nudity and everything, versus the advertisement that was shown, which was all clothed. Now, it advertises to something that...
I tell you what it is. Coming up soon is the best Just Chatting streamer. Oh yeah, the last year was sponsored by Fansly too. Who do you think will win? Thanks to Fansly for sponsoring this award. Sign up with Fansly today to get an extra 10% off on select purchases this weekend to support your favorite creators over at fansly.com.
That is full-blown porn. But this is where we get back to safeguards. I, as well as most people I imagine, are under the impression that Fansly is a service that can only be accessed once you log in and verify you're 18 years old. That's no different than Kick having an 18 plus check in the title or whatever. So, I feel like there's already extra degrees of separation on that front as well. I don't feel there's any merit to claiming that I'm hypocritical for calling Aiden Ross pulling up porn, which was on stream out of nowhere at random, just legitimate full nudity porn, versus a porn advertisement which had no sexual content in it whatsoever until you went to the site and then signed up. Now, I understand the site isn't very secure. From what I've read, you can sign up at any age. It doesn't really do good checks. That's information I didn't know at the time, but even still, that is a problem with Fansly itself that I was unaware of. But the point still stands. Me laughing when that pops up is not hypocritical because it was not nearly on the same playing field as the thing people are calling out that I've said before, which was pulling up literal Pornhub on stream in front of the audience.
Notice again how... God, this is so annoying. He's avoiding another key criticism, which is to do with the connections that he's got to QT via Ludwig. And he's completely avoiding that by focusing on the hypocrisy element. And that's one argument I think you can go with, but maybe they get to it, maybe he pushes on it. But he seems to be totally disregarding this whole other criticism that's made, that if anything is kind of more valid, I think.
Is a very far cry away from clothed.
You know what? I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and defend you on this one. I mean, I don't think it's hypocritical either, because people think it's like a black and white, right? And I think laughing. I generally think that laughing at something being like dumb and like surreal and kind of stupid, right? I think people get the point. Well, it doesn't make you like an endorser / whatever, right? Because something extremely terrible, let's say a call to action to violence, and you go, oh, that's terrible, right? But somebody, let's say, is saying, oh man,
also this
making a comment about something that isn't crazy.
This was funny. I saw in the comments. I tend not to read YouTube comments because people that leave YouTube comments are subhuman. But there was some funny cope that I saw. It's so clear it was an oh my god laugh. Not sure how someone could think Charlie was delighted with the ad. It's so funny how people will try to cancel Charlie. Who the fuck is trying to cancel Charlie, retards? Jesus Christ, man. Everything is a cancellation now. The fact he had to defend himself over this is insane. Seems like once a week Charlie has to explain to his chat common sense. 2 words, explicit versus implicit. That's what this topic boils down to. I always thought your position was the most defensible. The laugh felt like a, wow, I can't believe they're actually advertising porn on the Twitch Awards. What? What the fuck? It's just the cope is unreal. Yeah, that's what that laugh meant, yeah. It wasn't, oh, awkwardly laugh as you realise your friends are doing something that you probably should criticise, but you're not going to because you don't want to cause trouble. Becomes, well, he clearly was laughing because he thought it was bad.
You may say, this guy's kind of crazy, or this guy's kind of dumb, right? And I think laughing or saying the second thing I did, right, doesn't
good.
flip the switch
Back in one
into
sec.
endorsing it. Or does that make sense or not? You get it?
I absolutely understand what you're saying.
Someone at my
And
door.
that's the only point I was making. Mukitty highlights me as a hypocrite. She is still on Twitter saying I'm huffing copium by defending that there is a huge distinction between what was broadcast by Aiden and what was advertised by QT. So, this is what I said on stream, and I'll say it here as well, because I know she watches you a lot. If she truly feels these are exactly the same situation and it is hypocritical, then I would like her in her next video to play the unedited, uncensored version of Aiden Ross's Pornhub moment, and then play the QTCinderella Fansly advertisement so we can see them side by side and see if they really are the exact same situation like she insinuates they are. I imagine that won't go super well. One of those clips is going to get her banned, and the other one will see the
Like, let's say a call to action to violence. So you go, oh, that's terrible, right? But somebody, let's say, is saying, oh man, making a comment about something that isn't crazy, then you maybe say, this guy's kind of crazy, or this guy's kind of dumb, right? And I think laughing or saying the second thing I did, right, doesn't flip the switch into endorsing it. Or does that make sense or not? You get it?
I absolutely understand what you're saying. And that's the only point I was making. Mukitty highlights me as a hypocrite. She is still on Twitter saying I'm huffing copium by defending that there is a huge distinction between what was broadcast by Aiden and what was advertised by QT. So, this is...
Nah. Listen, he is so dishonest about this. It's unreal. Mukitty is not just saying, oh, you're huffing copium because of that. It's the whole thing that he's huffing copium over. Pressed cope. He's actually mad. All streamers stun locked by a random schizo girl. Oh, Giga Chud Mukitty.
It's what I said on stream, and I'll say it here as well, because I know she watches you a lot. If she truly feels these are exactly the same situation and it is hypocritical, then I would like her in her next video to play the unedited, uncensored version of Aiden Ross's Pornhub moment, and then play the QTCinderella Fansly advertisement so we can see them side by side and see if they really are the exact same situation like she insinuates they are. I imagine that won't go...
I do not think that Mukitty at any point has said they're the exact same situation. I do not believe Mukitty has said that. Mukitty is making a much more nuanced point and discussing the connections that he's got and saying that this could be the reason that he doesn't want to criticize it. On top of that as well, Moist has since said they're both bad, right? So by his own logic, he has said they're bad, but now he wants to act like, well, you know, she's saying they're exactly the same, but you yourself have said you think the advert the fans had is bad, but you're focusing so much on the Aiden Ross thing when that isn't even the center point of what Mukitty is saying. Mukitty isn't saying these are the same thing, therefore, you know, you're not criticizing this as hypocritical. She's saying that the concern about the nudity and the porn and stuff is not really that important, and you're being hypocritical. You're making a big deal about one thing, but you're not making a big deal about this thing, and this thing just so happens to be connected to the business ties that you've got to these people and the friendships that you got with these people.
Go super well. One of those clips is going to get her banned, and the other one is right now on YouTube and Twitch without problems. And I think you can guess which one that is.
Yeah, no,
it is not the same.
Yeah, no, I get that. So I think the hypocrisy is out the window. Just some of the argument patterns that I didn't agree with, which don't earn a big deal.
The other thing as well, I know people in chat are saying no. That I personally think the Aiden Ross thing is worse, but I do think it's worth noting that like there is something that's pernicious about the Fansly thing that isn't shared by the Aiden Ross thing. Aiden Ross is saying, I'm going to bring up porn on stream, and he brings up porn on stream, right? You kind of know what you're getting with that, right? It's pretty obvious what's going on there. But the Fansly thing is presented as like, oh, subscribe to the Fansly, and then within a couple of clicks, you're viewing pornographic content on there with no age verification. One is exponential. What do you mean by that? You could argue the Fansly thing is worse since it's advertised as a specific demographic to use the platform. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm getting at, right? I mean, to be honest with you, I think that trying to figure out which one is worse is probably a mistake anyway. I just think that it's what you, because the thing is, it's not about which one is worse or whatever. It's about the hypocrisy and the seeming lack of willingness to call something out, which you would think someone would. It's the logic of it. It's you would think, right, if you think what Aiden Ross did was bad, if someone is doing another version of it, even if in your opinion it isn't as severe, it's something you should still call out and criticize when it happens because you think it's bad. And this is something that MoistCritical has said. He thinks the Fansly ad is bad, you know? And if he thinks it's bad now and says it's bad now, why didn't he react or comment on it back then? And that's when you bring in the analysis of the ties that he's got as to maybe the reason he didn't talk about it, you know? But yeah.
Chelsea always backpedaling, but overall, that's why I said it. Basically, the issue that I had is at one point you say that something that I hear a lot, like Twitch, hot tubs like that, right? I think this shit should have been instead of being widened, this should have been really hard on the hot tub shit and bikini stuff. They should have been hard on it, but instead they caved in to the demand, and they kind of widened it. As long as you're in a hot tub, you can be like half naked, right? Which is like, it's just.
By the way, listen, I'm just looking for the top clips of LSF. I can see one clip from the debate. MoistCritical is confused by XQC bringing up gambling during Fansly debate. Another clip here. I mean, I don't know. I can see 2 clips scrolling down a bit. There's probably more. There's probably more I'm not seeing. I just find it really unusual that this isn't causing more of like a wave. It's really easy for Moist to just own it and say, yeah, I was surprised by it for obvious reasons and didn't immediately criticize it because I have a personal relationship with QT. That's my thought process too. I didn't know this happened till you said it. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to get into conspiracy mode. I love a bit of schizo posting, but yeah, Mukitty is based. I'm glad Mukitty is calling these fuckers out. Anyway,
nudity, right? It's kind of fucked up, right? And in the video, you say at one point, you say, "Oh yeah, but it's nothing that on Twitch. If you compare it, I mean, Twitch isn't better. Even if you're young, you can just click on a category like hot tub, and you're gonna see nudity, right? But then I kind of fire back at you, where you said, "Mark, you did earlier about you're able to look at the ad."
Why is it? The reason XQC is bringing this up is because he responded to the video and he had a really bad response and he didn't know really what he was talking about, and he kind of somewhat defended the stuff, but then he changed his mind on more information, and I think he probably I guess he probably feels a bit bad about the fact that he fucked up on it and wants to kind of correct the record. The Great Moist Mogul's corruption scandal isn't getting national headlines. I mean, I'm not expecting it to get national headlines, obviously. But I feel that the comment kind of downplays it. I'm just saying that it doesn't really seem to be that LSF is commenting much on this, or there isn't many clips of people talking about it. That, you know, is about as much as you... That is about as close as you're going to get to, like, you know, I don't know what you call it. But yeah, please go full schizo. I'm not going to go full schizo. I just think that, you know, we're talking about the top upper echelons of Twitch streaming, and there is this weird kind of corruption that happens, and no one really seems to. Well, people do care about it and are talking about it, but there's a lot of people that defend it. LSF Jannies are compromised. I agree.
You wouldn't get banned if you look at porn. You're gonna get banned on Twitch, right? Well,
right.
If you flip it up. I mean, if you take the content if you take the content that's in Fansly and you would have put on Twitch, well, you would get banned, right? That was the only point. If you take the content that's being pushed towards and call to action to consume, if you would have put that in a category, well, now you would get banned. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't see the relevance to the overall. The reason I brought up the hot tub streaming was just to point out once again that content that was shown by the Fansly advertisement is not content that is like actually worse than what Twitch is already advertising, which is hot tub streams. Like I said, if you go on Twitch right now and you're not logged in, you are recommended hot tub streamers in that recommended section.
Oh God, does XQC know that QTCinderella was like critical of the hot tub stuff? Is he going to bring it up?
100% of the time. The point was, this content is already on Twitch and already super accessible. It's kind of weird to focus the outrage on that advertisement for the content of the advertisement when it's not worse than what's already here. Now, going to where it's advertising, that is a problem. But once again, that's a degree of separation where you would only, like I said, I didn't know this at the time, you would only think you could.
Let's just play this clip.
Just because some female streamers do things really sets other female streamers up for bullshit. And it fucking pisses me off. Like, I'm all about getting that bread. I really am. I'm like, yes, queen, do the hot tub stream, but please don't do it on Twitch. Because it makes my life miserable. Because then I have people coming from your chat where they see your hot tits covered in bubbles to my chat asking to see mine. But we don't do that here.
Wait, did ads start
like
running?
So frustrating.
Just play when MoistCritical starts talking about hot tub streamers. Just play him that clip. Just play him that clip. Just go. Well, hang on a sec. What do you think of this? Just read out the text of the take and then say, "Well, that was QTCinderella that said that." That would be the banging. That would be the banging meme.
Just because some female streamers do things really sets other female streamers up for bullshit, and it fucking pisses me off. Like, I'm all about getting that bread. I really am. I'm like, yes, queen, do the hot tub stream, but please don't do it on Twitch. Because it makes my life miserable. Because then I have people coming from your chat where they see your hot tits covered in bubbles to my chat asking to see mine. But we don't do that here. It's like so frustrating.
I mean, yeah, the hot tub point that MoistCritical is making is not a good one, because that is another angle of hypocrisy with which you could criticize QTCinderella. Because obviously, for those of you who don't understand, if you got a concern with sexual content on Twitch and you don't like the hot tub streams when they're happening a couple of years ago, why are you taking a sponsorship from an organization that further perpetuates and increases sexualization of Twitch creators? You know, when you've got such a big problem with it. Maybe it's that she doesn't give a shit about a lot of this stuff. And as she herself has said, she took the money because she needed it for the Streamer Awards. Oh. Sponsored by Fansly. I joked the other day and I said, you know, next Streamer Awards sponsored by Steak, but it would be, you know, a similar level of like hypocrisy, because complaining about gambling on Twitch and then taking the Steak sponsorship. But yeah. As much as I don't like QT, isn't a point in that video that she's not against him doing that stuff off of Twitch? Yeah, but the point she's making is the association of the sexual content with Twitch is a problem, right? She's making a point against any of it existing or happening on Twitch, but she's taken a sponsorship from Fansly, which increases the sexualization further, and the ad integrated with Twitch. You could go to Fansly with a Twitch plugin. That's the point. God. Come on now. Use your fucking brains. Use your brains.
Access that content at 18 plus through a verification check, which apparently Fansly doesn't really do. The whole point with the hot tub segment was just to highlight that this content wasn't like outrageously sexual, especially when compared to what's already on Twitch.
Also,
it wasn't really trying.
If you look at the creators that were featured in that advert, they're all creators that do what she's talking about on Twitch. They're all creators that do that.
To make a grander point about like the state of hot tub streaming on Twitch itself.
I got that. I just thought that since you're knowledgeable about safeguards, or at least from certain barriers, that you would have tried to investigate the fact that if you do understand the importance and the use of safeguards and how they're it's the best we could do, right? Say like 18 plus checks, that it would be kind of weird for a QT stream to advertise and make a call to action to interact with a product that's 18 plus without having the 18 plus tag on her own stream she broadcasted that stream.
So you're saying for the overall stream having an 18 plus due to the sponsor having explicit content?
Yeah, that's another
Absolutely.
point as well. These people want to set themselves up as these grand moral arbiters of Twitch, but they've got no morals themselves. They're completely fucking immoral themselves, and they'll willingly take money from a sponsor even though it goes against their principles because they want to run their little award show. It's not as if it's like, oh, you know, I need money for a dying cancerous child. Okay, I don't really like OnlyFans, but they're offering to pay for my kid's cancer treatment, so I'm going to take it begrudgingly because I don't have any other choice, right? It's to run a fucking popularity party. It's money in order to run a fucking popularity award show. It's not as if it's like something that's charitable or serious. It's to run a fucking vanity show. That's the other thing that's annoying about it too.
See, that's a totally fine argument to make, but that's not one that Mukitty was making against me. I'm only fighting back on the hypocritical stuff, because I think that's a load of horseradish.
Okay, Kenninger, are you literally retarded? I'm not saying that ads are moral. I'm saying that it's really simple, and this is so consistent with all of my other takes, okay? If you make a big deal out of something in your content, you ought to stick to those principles that you espouse, because otherwise that's terrible to me, okay? You know, if you were going to make a big deal out of, I'm a political content creator and I'm trying to bring about political change, and you do nothing to bring about political change, then that's fucked. If you're going to make out like you're against bad things being on Twitch and then take money from people that are putting the bad things on Twitch that you say you're against, yeah, that's fucked. And I don't think that's right. It's the same fucking principle again.
That's all I'm talking about. So everything I'm talking about is to defend that. I'm not here to defend the Fansly being on here. Like I said multiple times now, I think both are probably not the best decision to play porn on a stream or advertise porn to a stream, especially when it's not like beforehand, this is going to be an 18 plus sponsor. That's totally fine. I agree. You could have absolutely had an 18 plus.
Okay, now this is such bullshit cope, and I'm going to get one guide again. I don't care, okay? I understand this sucks, but this is everywhere. Look, there's a difference between a fucking 50 viewer streamer, okay, wanting a bit of cash and being desperate for money, and taking a fucking gambling sponsorship even if they say they're against gambling, okay? Right? That's one thing, and that's something I'll look the other way on, because I think, well, you're fucking struggling to get where you need to be, whatever, okay? I'm not going to hold you super hard to your fucking principles, like being a 50 viewer Andy or some shit, right? If you're just trying to make a fucking buck trying to stream. This is the top of the top of the top, the upper echelons of the fucking Twitch aristocracy, okay? Purporting and pushing narratives super hard about bad things being on Twitch, taking money to put bad things on Twitch that they say they're against. What is so difficult to understand about this? Most people do understand, and I'm getting one guide. But like, this is not just like a little person taking money out of desperation. This is taking money from something you say you're against to hold a vanity competition. How do people not see how fucked this is? It is fucking insane to me that anyone would in any way defend this and not just go, yeah, that's pretty fucked, I agree.
Plus somewhere in there, absolutely. That wasn't the point of the video, though.
Yeah. See, people talk about nuance, but I think when your site advertised as an adult site, adult content, then you have to make a parallel with something as drastic as just saying fucking Pornhub. And at that point, right? At that point, if you advertise something like Fansly, then you'll be okay with your stream being not 18 plus as a tag in the title or in the setting, and advertising straight up Pornhub, because Pornhub has a lot of videos of creators that are not naked. I know, but they are not naked. They're just doing some like roleplay, whatever. Or
That's actually another good point, Zesty. Look at these. These are the viewership for the stream. What did it peak at? 331,000 people. When did the ad run? I would argue that at least twice the amount of people would have seen the Fansly sponsorship live, right? As like the Aiden Ross porn thing. I don't know how many viewers Aiden Ross have. I don't want to downplay the Aiden Ross thing anyway. The Aiden Ross thing was dumb. But I just think that there was definitely a lot of people watching that advert. Anyway, come on.
Or ASMR.
We'll pause
and there is a lot of nudity and nude and directly pornographic content. The same way that Fansly does. And that creates a one-to-one equivalency in product being delivered or a thing to be consumed by the consumer. right?
Yeah, but you've already overlooked a core component of that example. Pornhub is easily accessible without any kind of login or verification. Fansly, to my knowledge, you still do have to log in, albeit its system is complete dog shit and lets anyone in under 18. So there is still a difference in the actual service itself, but the product does stay the same, you're right. And again, that would be something you would absolutely need the 18 plus check on, and would be something that, again, I would say is not a great decision.
Yeah, at that point, it's very, very difficult because then we're talking about the severity and efficacy of safeguards, right? Overall, and I think that's a discussion that the internet isn't ready to have.
Well, I think it's a discussion everyone already knows. The safeguards, like, I mean, clicking I'm 18 on Kick, I mean, that's the easiest thing in the world. No one's going to see that and be like, fuck, I'm not 18. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. This is too intense for me. It's the safeguards aren't effective. However, when you go to a service that I assumed was a paid service for only 18 plus subscribers, you would expect them to do their due diligence with like an ID check or something. I think OnlyFans does that, though I'm not positive because I don't use that either. I would think there'd be some kind of system in place since it's paid porn where they check that you're of age to be purchasing it. So that check, I imagine, would have been a little more thorough than the standard one of click yes, I'm 18. But apparently that's not the case, which I didn't know.
Okay, I feel like the so safeguards are it's a massive topic, right? Because safeguards, it literally makes you have conclusions. I generally think, and it makes you understand, right? In my opinion, you either take them seriously or you don't. There's not much of a nuance there. Because regardless of how good they are, people will discredit them, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always ways around it, 100%.
Bro.
Yeah.
Why is...
Oh! That's all.
Okay. That's fucked up. Where was I? Why is he like... just get a notepad. Just notepad. It's on your computer for free. Okay, you don't need to download an app. Notepad. And you can type shit out.
18, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. This is too intense for me. It's the safeguards aren't effective. I don't want...
So there's not much of a nuance there. Because regardless of how good they are, people will discredit them. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always ways around it, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll get any pushback on that, yeah.
Yeah, because see, a good thing of the gambling era that I noticed, right, is that when you think about, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, crypto gambling sites, right? In terms of safeguards.
Yes, I'd like to be on a commercial.
Sorry, I had your GoDaddy ad open or some shit, or somebody linked it in chat earlier and I clicked on it by accident. Oh my fucking god. Sorry, GoDaddy with the big titties, my bad. Okay.
Yeah. That'll get you. That'll had you going awooga.
Yeah. So the good parallel is that if you think about internet safeguards and things you do online virtually, crypto gambling sites are the most inaccessible of almost all content out there. Because right, there's 18 plus whenever you log in, create an account, whatnot, and even that to interact with the product to be able to actually play with money, right? You have to have an account to deposit crypto from, right? And how do you get that? Well, you have to go to an exchange. You have to go to an exchange, right? And from that exchange, right, you have to make an account. From that account, you have to submit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about some of these. My account, I had to send ID. It was like insane. The level of verification you got to do to set up a crypto thing. It was on Coinbase, so it is a bit more legit. Maybe there's like some weird exchange where you can get something set up without ID and being 18. I don't know, man. I think there's when it comes to safeguards against gambling as a kid, against a kid accessing it, I think that gambling is probably the most safeguarded thing of all. And there are tons of barriers in place that will stop a kid from going and gambling stuff. You'd have to go into some pretty in-depth shit, going to the level of stealing your parents' ID in order to set up a gambler account.
Like your passport and shit. So like legal docs, like legitimate legal documents for them to verify your accounts. Then you have to. So I don't know what I call it again, Jeff. I forgot. It's called KYC. So after you do KYC, you have to
Wait,
link
listen, I'm not a gambling fan. I don't like gambling. Do not gamble. Gambling is bad, okay? I'm not a gambling person. But in terms of this argument, I think the point this XQC is trying to make in talking about this is he's pointing out that a lot of these Twitch aristocracy types were freaking out about gambling. Remember what happened as well, right? Remember what happened that led to this gambling ban, right? Remember what happened? Slicker was revealed to have been going to his viewers and going to his mods and other streamers, asking them for money and then using that for gambling, okay? But what he was actually gambling on was sports betting. It was sports betting stuff that he was doing, and he wasn't doing it on stream either.
Welcome to Chud.
He wasn't gambling on stream largely. It was all off-stream Gamba Addict degen shit primarily that he was doing, okay? Thank you for the sub. Off the back of that, all of these Twitch aristocracy fucks got on their high horse about Twitch banning gambling, right? But what was the focus of the discussion? It was like slots gambling on stake, which I don't like. I think slots gambling on stake is bad, okay? However, right? That was never people freaked out about it, and it's like, well, but Slick has nothing to do with this. Slick has nothing to do with slots gambling on stake. I don't even know if that's what he gambled on. So, and then what happened was they all freaked out about it and made a big stink about it, which then led to unregulated or less regulated gambling sites, slots, etc., not being allowed on Twitch anymore. And then all the people that had gone on about banning gambling acted like they'd won when they hadn't won anything. It hadn't dealt with the issue that affected Slicker. Gambling wasn't banned. It was a pure PR move. And all of these people acted like they'd achieved something. So it was a complete baloney bullshit these people did. And the thing is as well is, I think I agree that there are a lot of safeguards when it comes to gambling that don't exist with some of this other stuff. And the other reason this is relevant is because of the arguments that were made, which is that the reason that gambling is bad on Twitch is because it affects kids, right? That was one of the big arguments that was made, was that if you gamble on Twitch, it's going to affect kids gambling. Gambling is bad, but yeah, I remember this meme from the time, yeah. And that's why Trainwreck's popped the fuck off like he did, is because he felt frustrated that they were all... Basically, it was almost like they were focused on the things that would negatively impact Trainwrecks. I'm going to be honest with you, right? I think... Look, I'm going to get a bit schizo here, okay? I think that whole drama was more to do with shitting on Trainwrecks than it was to actually deal with the gambling and the Slicker issue. Because it was all of a sudden, it went from gambling's bad to, oh, the specific type of gambling that Trainwrecks does on Twitch is bad. An XQC. And it's like, but that's nothing to do with it. I happen to agree, and I don't like the state gamba stuff. However, I just found it, because I remember I was thinking, yeah, they do need to ban gambling. That would be good for the platform if they ban gambling. But then I saw the narrative shift and I saw it became that focused on this. And I was thinking, first it was ban gambling, and then it was, oh, we're going to celebrate because Stake has been banned from Twitch. It's so fucking retarded, and it just shows how fucking hollow and shallow all of these bullshit sentiments are from these people, you know? So, I just, the whole drama and discourse was so retarded. And, they still allow sports betting sponsorships and stuff because they don't give a shit about it. They literally don't care. They know which side their bread is buttered. Train was right all along, correct.
Bank. Right? Link your bank, transfer funds twice, and then go back to the website that's 18 plus, and then you can interact with the product. Is this something or an activity that targets or is prone to children?
Welcome.
I think that's
Doctor, thank you for the sub.
Disingenuous of an argument to push. I think
I don't know who's pushing that argument because that was not in that video at all. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how we got to gambling. I was gonna let you cook on it if you wanted to, but yeah, I didn't say anything about gambling. For what it's worth, though, it's all good. But for what it's worth, there actually have been a couple cases where kids have signed up for crypto gambling because they usually don't check.
That could be true. A couple of kids might have signed up.
Welcome
I think
to Chud Nation.
Oh, hey, Parallax, thanks for the gifted sub.
Tier 1 sub to train Rext.
I think the reality is, though, that there's quite a clear line that XQC is trying to make, and maybe XQC could make that clearer. Because the problem with this is a lot of these criticisms is you do need to understand the dynamic and the history and the story of how some of this stuff played out to appreciate why some of these people are such dishonest, shallow, hollow fucks. But without explaining it, you're not going to get there. And obviously MoistCritical probably does need it laid out to him. I imagine he probably has got some inkling into what this all is, but obviously he doesn't want to engage with it in like a meaningful way. I don't know.
Check the verification until it's time to cash out. So I remember there was a story I read not long ago where kids signed up. They had some money they won through crypto gambling. I don't remember what site. I don't think it was Stake, but it was one of those. And they had money in the account, but they couldn't cash it out because then they needed to verify their age. But Stake was more than willing to take the money before verifying. So I don't know what this has to do with the core topic, but I mean, yeah, that's this. Any safeguards are prone to being breached regardless, but some are better than others.
So the only reason why I made an argument is that to show that safeguards, in my opinion, have a wide array of them, and if people in general, the public doesn't agree with the argument of Gamba safeguards, which are I think one of the strongest out there because of how hard it is to get there. Right?
Oh, another connection you could make as well. Another connection you could make too is the fact that there was all this soying out about the gambling stuff. And then during the Streamer Awards, there was an advert, which was for KFC, admittedly, but it featured gambling in a very positive light. Should we play it quickly? It's fucking shameless. It is totally shameless.
Healer wins.
Come on, Lud. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
Here you are.
Oh, thanks.
I want to double down.
What is it?
It's amazing.
That's a sandwich.
Yeah, this is real. This is a real ad they played.
It plays.
Gambling's fun and cool, guys. Let's go. Gamble all your money. Gamble it away. You're going to win. You're going to double down and win. Look how fun it is. The stakes are so high, but it's so rewarding.
Blackjack.
It's unreal.
It's always a good idea to double down. That's why we brought back the KFC Double Down Sandwich. Ain't she a beauty?
I don't understand. Did he win, like, money?
Honestly, it makes me feel like they're doing it to take the piss. It feels like they're mocking. It feels like the fucking kings and queens up in their castle laughing at all the peasants at how shameless it is. Do you know what I mean? It's wild. It's wild they're going to run an ad that has such a positive representation of gambling after all of the shit they did with gambling. It's just unbelievable, man. Anyway.
They will never, ever accept any online safeguards without supervision. Ever. Unless their parent has to put their thumb in a machine, right, and log them in, they will never agree to any safeguards on the internet. They just won't. And these people need to understand that their mentality is bricked. That's all. That's all.
Right. Listen, I'm going to get one guide. I'm going to willingly get one guide. It's not slots, which was the focus. They admit they gamble. Bull fucking shit. Is that true? I remember this happening. I don't remember people going, ban gambling on Twitch, but only slots because slots is bad. That is the biggest fucking cope I've ever heard. It wasn't just, oh, ban slots. It was ban gambling. Like this tweet if you think Twitch should ban gambling.
Do you agree with that or not?
I'm gonna be honest, I followed you all the way up until you left the safeguard component about putting like their thumb or like where's their thumb going and where like what is it, like a biometric scanner?
The argument is that it's hard to argue when you make the argument about safeguards. People are gonna give you some pushback and say, oh, it's easy to do this, it's easy to do that. I generally think the people that say that safeguards are bad, right? They aren't really to understand that.
Well, I don't know who's saying safeguards are bad.
No. Safeguards don't work, right?
Oh, gotcha.
It doesn't matter the severity of the safeguard. They will never agree that safeguards online work or have any value, unless there comes a time where parents have to come in with a thumbprint thing and they put their thumb in a machine that scans their age and then their child is able to play, right? If it's not that, they will never agree with any degrees of online safeguard. They'll just say that it's just you're talking to ghosts.
Okay, so then the grand point you're making to kind of relate it back is in terms of safeguards, and you're using gambling
as a strongest.
Okay, gotcha. As an example.
Yeah. By the way, if you're worried about kids gambling, right? Some of the gacha game shit and some of that stuff is way fucking. Introducing gambling to a kid in a form that's fun is a problem too. But obviously they don't give a shit about that. They don't care about that, you know? The Pokemon shit, yeah, it's... Look, it's fine. You can have a problem with gambling and still do that stuff, I think. It's, I just find it really weird that they go on this moral crusade. That's the problem for me. It's the moral crusade that's the problem. It's the moral crusade that's the problem. And they make such a big deal out of it, and then they celebrate when it does get banned. And it's like, what are you even celebrating here? Some of the most pernicious forms of gambling still exist on Twitch, and you're acting like this is a win. I don't know, man. Ban everything. I mean, I don't really care about banning stuff. I don't mind. I just hate the inconsistency. I hate the fact that they make these moral crusades about it and they get all the points of being the moral crusaders against the bad thing. It doesn't really meaningfully get banned. And then they go and do shit like what they did at the Streamer Awards. It's fucking wild.
Safeguards, okay.
So if people don't agree with the strongest safeguard, then they will never agree to any degrees of safeguard, right? Because it's like impossible at that point. It's literally it's like
Welcome to Chud.
It's like whenever you're young. You ever go to the Blockbuster and there's like a drape and then you go and you peek through the fucking boobies area?
I didn't know Blockbuster had a boobies area. Holy shit, that was a well-kept secret from me. No, I can't say I've had that experience.
Oh shit, I mean, our local Blockbuster spot, I mean, in Quebec we didn't have Blockbuster, we had the store.
If the criticism was, I think that slots specifically are a bad form of gambling, then that's fine. But the problem you've got is, gacha games are are less severe, and the money aspect is different and stuff. But gacha games are basically like playing slots. It's a similar sort of dynamic of play, right? I just think that if you're gonna have a problem with slots, you're gonna have to have a problem with a lot of other things that you're probably not gonna have a problem with because it doesn't benefit you to have a problem with it. Right? That's the problem. The problem is, I don't think you can just sideline slots in and of itself. I just don't think you can say, I've got a problem with slots without having a problem with a lot of other things that you also would need to speak out against.
We would go to the fucking a store, right? We get movies. And
also, slots are still on Twitch anyway,
they have like a door. But instead of a door that's physical, it's like drapes, right? Or like a curtain. And we would go pick the curtain at the adult fucking movies, right? And it would look at the thumbnails.
Right.
Oh, gotcha. So would it be like?
I mean, yeah. It's just that now you have to use a regulated website.
Welcome to Chud Nation.
So, just fucking cope. Look, I can go watch slots right now if I want to. Probably on some Americanoid website, right? Rocket Pot, whatever that is. It's complete cope. They said ban gambling, and then Twitch said, we're going to ban gambling from less regulated websites like Stake. And everyone was like, yeah, whoa, we won. It's complete bullshit. Anyway, listen, let's just fucking watch this thing. I've got other stuff I want to talk about today as well. I've been covering this for ages. But yeah, that was probably one of the key moments for me. When Twitch announced what they were banning and everyone celebrated, it was a little moment for me when I was like, these people are full of shit, aren't they? Like, what are they celebrating? Gambling isn't banned, and they're acting like they won. It's mental. Anyway,
like a shelf or something full of adult films.
No, it was a room with a door.
Oh, okay. So like a full. Okay, Jesus Christ.
It's all content at the end of the day.
Past here, and it would go and pick it. That's just kind of how it goes. Anyway, see, that's like the type of a safeguard. You know, there is sometimes around these things, and I feel like the internet is kind of the same thing a little bit. They're like inefficient type of safeguard type shit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a conversation to be had about the effectiveness of safeguards and how we can make them stronger. None of that was at all what I talked about. Again, it was all just about the hypocritical claims.
Thank you for the sub.
Okay.
Wait, is that true? Malta regulated is fine. Honestly, I do not believe that Twitch has actually done a deep dive analysis of color me surprised or color them surprised. I don't fucking know what I'm trying to say. The point I'm trying to make is I doubt Twitch have actually done a substantive analysis on gambling regulation. I think they've just got rid of the sites from the controversial website, got rid of gambling from the controversial websites, and that's it. That's all they've done. Oh, the Curacao ones, they're the bad ones only. That's my guess. I don't know for sure. That's my guess. Hey, Krantos. Thank you for the raid. Well, no, they don't. They only... This is what I'm saying about Twitch. It's PR statement. This is Twitch's fucking public relations plan. Okay, this is the guideline. Okay, PR statement. Bad news, shitty change, right? PR statement. Okay, making a product worse. PR statement. That's Twitch's fucking public interaction. The other thing that's wild about Twitch is you never hear from anyone. You never hear from anyone ever. You know, all these people have got these partner managers they speak to at the top level. I know I'm not like a massive streamer. I'm not the biggest streamer in the world. The only time I've ever heard from Twitch is an email and they say, we're suspending you because you've watched a Mr. Girl content on stream for a couple of hours. You know, they don't even say that. They just say, you've been watching banned streamers. You're going to be suspended for that. You just never hear from them. You never have any communication or contact. Anyway, listen, I don't want to complain too much. But plans are afoot.
Well, no, it's okay. Because I just didn't agree about like your like I said, about what I just thought about what I told you. But I do agree though that I don't think it's hypocritical to react in various ways to various degrees of something, right? Like,
yeah, because I think all of us can agree that the severity is different between pulling up Pornhub on stream versus the advertisement, which didn't have the explicit content, though did advertise to it, which, again, I have said many times now, is still not great. But it is inarguably not as bad as the Aiden Ross situation. Thus, I don't think it's hypocritical to have not immediately made a huge stink about that and instead laughed at it and then called it uncomfortable. That seems about right. And if she disagrees, then again, I welcome her to play the unedited, uncensored Aiden Ross Pornhub moment in her next video, and then play the QTCinderella Fansly moment, and we'll see how it goes.
Damn
so
right.
we can see how similar they are.
You know what? I just came up with I like making parallels and I like making what we call analogies that apply one to one, right?
Oh god, here we go.
To try to simplify a topic.
Oh, no, not this again.
Right?
Oh no.
If I show you a clip of UFC,
XQC,
right?
stop.
Which is
enough.
Sign a waiver. They voluntarily go to fights, right? Right? That's one thing. right? That's about as consensual as it gets to fighting it. And then a video of some guy who does an assault, like punching me in the fucking face in real life, right? Who comes by and is just
Oh, is it?
If you want something for the
Does it play well on the Steam Deck? I've got Xbox Game Pass, so I got the EA thing. I got it already, but it would be good to have it portable.
Knocked him to the fire, bing! Right? I think if I show you the kill of the UFC, right, you'll have a certain reaction, and if I show you
thank you for the sub
a clip of a punch and assault, you have a very different reaction.
Oh, sure, we got 30 subs.
Right? And I think even though this is the topic of
on
violence,
Steam Deck. Okay.
It's still violent. Maybe check it out. In both ends. The reaction to these things will be severely different from one end to the other. Even though it's extreme, the two ends are very extreme. I still think there's value to present the argument that there are degrees of reaction based on what is happening. And I think you laughing at Kid making a sponsor and you saying, "What the fuck? International show porn," doesn't show hypocrisy. I don't think that's hypocrisy. And I think
I appreciate that. Yeah,
no problem.
I'm hoping after this conversation, she will also see it that way, because I don't see the other side of the coin. I get Fansly itself has problems where if you do sign up, like it doesn't actually verify you're 18. Like apparently you can just sign up with Twitch and it doesn't check if you're 18. It takes Twitch's word. That's a problem, and that's of course information I didn't have at the time. But even still, there is a very different degree of severity between pulling up Pornhub versus pulling up the Fansly advertisement. So even still, the whole thing was just tackling the hypocrisy statement.
Yeah. Chances I don't validate chances.
They're both bad. One's worse, which is why I talked about it first.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, Witchy.
Just as I'm folding, but the reality is that both my gotchas are like on semantics, even though I still think that there's value to the gotchas. Your argument is always back to your video title, which is good. It's good that you did that as a debater or a talker. You go back to the hypocrisy of it, right? That's the topic, right? And you are right. I don't believe you're
that's. I mean, that's actually a good point as well. I don't think I saw anyone defend Aiden Ross over that. He probably got like his sycophantic fans, sure, that maybe were like sucking his dick about it. But I think, well, I'd imagine you probably had, even within his community, some L Aidens in chat. But everyone was saying how bad that was. Everyone criticized it. Everyone said it was bad. And I just feel like, again, this is like, it feels like Moist is taking the easy, he's like picking out the easiest argument that he can make without contending with all the other criticisms that are coming his way. Well, what Aiden Ross did is worse. Sure, I think easy. You don't need to argue about that. This is the problem with it too. I know people are saying, "Oh, I think the fans thing is worse." You don't even need to do that. You can just take that. You can say, "Sure, what Aiden Ross did was worse." Okay, but this is still bad. Your reaction seems indicative of the fact you're unwilling to criticize these people. All the stuff we've already said. I'm looping at this point. Anyway, how long does this go on for? I want to watch all of it. I want to have a complete reckoning record of all this, so we'll keep going.
It was more like getting sidetracked on small semantics rather than big topics. I agree with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like again, it is a legitimately nuanced topic that you can have a lot of branching conversations about for sure, but that wasn't the point of the video. It was to tackle just one topic in particular. But yeah, I totally see what you're talking about on other things for sure. I'll be honest, once you started bringing in like thumbprint retina scanner stuff, you kind of had me wondering what was being whipped up in the kitchen back there by the chef. But overall, I think I understand where you're trying to go with a lot of like the branching paths to the conversation.
You know why I said
There's
that?
nothing wrong with that.
You know why I said that? I said thumbprint because it is the last amount of barrier you can have, because it's called the 3-rule life. It's life on 3 rules. FA 1, 2, 3. Always remember this, Charlie. Something that you know, something that you have, something that you are. The reason why I brought up the argument of thumbprint is the last line of defense behind who we are as people in terms of security like that. It is something that you are. An adult. And the adult has its thumb and it'll press it. Otherwise, the children can get access easily to something that you know, a password, something that you have, a computer or a device, but they don't have access to something that you are, the parent's thumb. Boom. Thoughts?
There was a lot in there. Overall, I think I understand the bigger point that you were aiming at. And, you know, I like the passion behind it, and I do think I agree. I hope I understood you correctly.
That's right.
I hope.
Wait, sorry, I missed that. I was distracted by Twitter.
No. 1, 2, 3. Always remember this, Charlie. Something that you know. Something that you have. Something that you are. The reason why I brought up the argument of thumbprint is the last line of defense behind who we are as people in terms of security like that. It is something that you are. An adult. And the adult has its thumb and it'll press it. Otherwise, the children can get access easily to something that you know, a password, something that you have, a computer or a device, but they don't have access to something that you are, the parent's thumb. Boom. Thoughts?
There was a lot in there. Overall, I think I understand the bigger point that you were aiming at. And, you know, I like the passion behind it, and I do think I agree. Okay. I hope I understood you correctly.
That's right.
I hope. There's just a lot in there that was going on. It got very almost Socrates for a moment with the what you are kind of stuff. But I think
you know, you don't get that? It's FA. It's FA. 3 is the maximum. 3. It's a video by Tom Scott. Factor authentication, right? Yep. Has a maximum of 3. It's a triangle.
Okay.
Something that
I think
you
this is important.
know.
I need to take
a password.
Right, give me 1 sec.
Right?
I'm gonna
a password, a name, a code word, something that you have, like an authenticator device, something you plug into your computer, a physical object, but also something that you are. So your thumbprint, your eyes, your DNA, your
right.
See it? And the third one is the strongest by far, right?
Yeah,
so that's how it
absolutely.
It is the 3FA.
3FA, baby.
That's right. That's right. Okay, I'm out, bro.
All right, man. Good conversation. Have a good stream.
That's right. You too, man.
I don't listen. The hypocrite thing. The reality of it is, the biggest issue for me in all of this are the connections that he's got that make it seem, at the very least, like he's not willing to criticize his friends. The answers and the reasoning that MoistCritical is given are not really adequate to explain away the connections that he's got. To me, it just seems pretty obvious that MoistCritical has got these connections with Ludwig. He's got these connections with QT. He doesn't want to come down super hard on them. It's fine if he doesn't want to do that, but he's trying to obfuscate and act like it's all chill when actually it isn't chill, and there are definitely inconsistencies in how he's presenting himself and how he's talking about this stuff. And he doesn't seem to want to say, I've got these connections, so that makes my opinion biased. He doesn't seem to want to make the criticisms that strongly. So I think as long as people see what's what, I don't know, that's all you can really ask for. Yeah, I just think it's pretty clear what's going on and the dynamics at play. Obviously, I think Mukitty's great for talking about this stuff in a way that streamers end up watching a video, don't realize it's going to be a criticism, like, oh shit, I'm getting shit on here. So yeah.